Welcome back. Well, I have company today, as you can see. Uh, I don't know what to tell you. He likes being held. And by that, I mean I have to hold him in my arms. Standing in my lap or sitting in my lap is not quite doing it for him. He's just got to be picked up. So, yes, Audie is being emotionally needy today. Do you want to go or are you going to? All right, he's going to stay here. The reason he is so needy is because it's a nice sunny day and he was outside sleeping on top of the big recycle toter, which I thought was unseemly for a respectable cat. And so I picked him up, told him he was behaving like an alley cat, and he had to come in. And I don't think he's quite gotten over it. He really liked sleeping on that thing. So, and that's why. The farm equipment has been going by all day long. So he's had all kinds of stuff to watch. And I mean, this isn't ordinary traffic. We're talking about giant McCormick harvesters, strange little vehicles. They look like little moon crawlers or something. I really don't know what the farmers do with all these things, but Audie was perfectly content to be outside and watch and see what was going on. I know, you missed your calling. You could be a farm cat. So, when we come back, we are going to take a look at some wonderful, warm, sunny day stuff from Lutz Antiques. I'm going to put you down now. Okay? I'm going to put you down. Well, we haven't been by Lutz in a while, so let's take a look at the stuff they have outside. Now, first of all, I want to give you fair warning and my apologies. Lutz is located on a main road, and there is a great deal of traffic. In fact, it's called a highway. It's a Rittner Highway. Main road, a lot of traffic, but because they are located in an area that is chock full of warehouses, the traffic is usually giant, noisy diesel trucks. So it's going to be hard to hear what I have to say in the filming, but because Stacy Lutz was out there with me for at least part of the time, and she was able to add a lot in terms of identifying things I was looking at, it's probably worth it to just try to struggle through so that we get the benefit of Stacy's input too. So, again, apologies, but wonderful sunny day. What else are we going to do? Take a look. Well, today I thought we would start off by taking a look at some of the fencing sections here at Lutz Antiques. This is a pretty one. It looks to be reasonably modern, but it's got a nicer old sort of look to it. Now, these are older. This is the sort of thing that I see a lot. Sometimes I'll see people put a gate like this in the middle of a hedge. And that one is nice as well. And look at its friend over here with the white paint. Very interesting. He's just doing some outdoor stuff today. All right, take a look at that. Now, Lutz has a fabulous collection of fencing materials. everything from a little one-off section of fence and that the white one with the rust on it, very shabby chic looking. And by the way, I'm sure somebody's going to come along and love that exactly the way it is. I know if it were me, I would want to repaint it, but somebody's going to love that. Everything from little one lone section to multiple sections where you could just, do your whole yard. So when we start looking at things like this, you can find just about everything. Some of that fencing was relatively new. Some of it was probably more than 100 years old. Now that little gate section that had the little scrolls on top, I see gates like that frequently in chain link fences and in chicken wire fences. I don't know if this is a thing all over the country, but chicken wire fencing is a thing around here where people will simply drop stakes into the ground and string large gauge wire fencing, chicken wire basically, in between the stakes, and then they'll put something. I've actually, I swear to you, this is the truth, I have seen people use headboards or footboards from old brass or iron beds for gates and fences like that. I know it's strange, but boy, talk about character. These are fences that you never forget when you see them. But that's what those little gates are very popular for, because there is an aluminum frame, I believe it's aluminum anyway, frame on the gate. And then inside, the interior area is all just wire, sort of woven together. Very big thing around here, and here is not the only place. In the rural South, you see things like that all the time. Let's see. A tractor. One of these days, I'm going to go out and film this stuff for you. That is a tractor hauling this giant wagon that appears to be full of hay. I know. My goodness. And to think I grew up in the city and missed all of this. Anyway, fencing like this is definitely something you see once you move into the heartland and get out of the cities. The really old fencing, you can get that so cheap around here, it is not even funny. But if you are in Boston, New York, Chicago, and you want a little section of fence for your little tiny city yard, you would be amazed at what you pay for it there. So I would strongly suggest to those of you who are in big cities looking for, a few feet of fencing for your yard, come here, go to Lutz. You would be shocked at how inexpensive it is because, like I say, I know it costs a fortune in the city. It's highly prized. So when a shop gets it in, they can ask what they want and somebody will buy it. All right, next up, Lutz has a whole section of yard decorations. Everything from, steampunk, whimsical, to just, a lot of it just reminds me of, children's playground things. So take a look, decide for yourself, pay special attention to the catfish. Okay, we are in the front courtyard. Let's look at I have to say I do love that. Oh, that would look nice in my yard. The kitty. We've got garden gnomes. Flamingos. Seahorses, frogs. We've got a zebra. There's a frog. pigs. My goodness. And we have all kinds of critters on bicycles. And take a look at these big boys. This guy right here has got to be about 8 feet tall. Little plant pot holders. And I'm not sure what these folks are. Catfish. Okay, thank you. Catfish. Wow. We've got goats, we've got sheep in between the pigs. Oh, and little itty-bitty guys. Well, I would say if you are a pig lover, this is where to go. And the dinosaur. Well, that stuff is great. And there is really something for everybody and every possible price range. You can go in there with 20 bucks in your pocket, come out with a little lawn sculpture, or you can go get one of those big, what did I say? Those chickens were like 7 feet tall. A 7-foot tall chicken. And, you know, the truth is, I can't even wipe the smile off my face just thinking about it. I love yards that have a little whimsy. I really do. It's just, they're fun to look at. They're fun to live next to. I just assume somebody else did it because I don't want to be burdened with the upkeep. But still, very, very interesting stuff. And of course, Lutz has a wonderful collection of these metal sculptures of all sorts. And I'm going to show you some up next that are on the inside of the building. I don't know if these are yard sculptures or there's something for the interior, but these were not on the outside. So the good news is the sound is a little better. But let's take a look at this. All right, $1.95 a piece. We have what looks like a bit of a little sort of repurposed mariachi band. Interesting. You aren't hearing things. This is another hour of... Yeah, it's like some kind of mariachi band. I don't know where they get them from. I will have to ask at some point. I am quite certain these are artist-made items that, in other words, you get something like this, you are getting the work of a metal artist. So, what can I say? Again, fun, whimsy, just great for a sunny day. All right. Now, I wanted to sort of take you through some of the things at Lutz, because they have all kinds of stuff. I usually take you in the back to the furniture because they have things that we're never going to find anywhere else. So if we want to talk about the furniture in medical offices, 50 years ago, where else can we go? And I usually do that. I try to take advantage of this to talk about things we just don't see anywhere else. But that's not all they have there. So I decided for this video, I would give you a sampling. That was just a motorcycle. That wasn't anything interesting. Although Audie's in the window watching. Anyway, I thought I'd give you a tour of some of the things that we really don't look at very often when we're there. And as I say, it's mostly because there's so much other stuff to see. So let's look at a chocolate pot and an incredible 1930s streamline modern toy train. 120. This is a lovely little chocolate set. 4 cups. Usually these came with 6 cups. This one, however, is small and may well have come with only 4 cups. Really, really pretty piece. We have depression glass down here. And these depression glass, I'm not sure, they look like juicers. I am not sure what the devil these are. Those are little depression glass something or others. And I honestly don't know. They're very interesting, very pretty. And this is where we have more of the glassware. They're also, here, we're going to walk over. More pieces. Yeah. Oh, look at that. We've got a wonderful little, I don't know what that is, a toy train, I'm guessing.
Tin toy, yeah.
Yeah, tin toy. Well, there you go. You heard it from the expert. Beautiful little piece. We've got an old globe. Oh, we have a phrenology head over here in case you want to feel the bumps on your friends' heads. All kinds of small stuff here. Stovetop pieces, canisters, great, great smalls. Now, I have to tell you, the chocolate pot was absolutely lovely. Beautiful little set, cups and saucers. And as you know, I price these things everywhere I go. And $120 is not a bad price for that. Chocolate sets ordinarily came with 6 cups and saucers. When we see them today, we almost always see them with 5, because invariably a cup, a saucer got broken somewhere, and the set is missing a little. So seeing a set with 4 cups and saucers is not a big deal. And I wouldn't hesitate to buy a set. All right, okay, yes, come back, excuse me. All right, I wouldn't hesitate to buy a set with 4 cups and saucers, because frankly, families are just a lot smaller than they were years ago. So we don't really need such a big chocolate set. What these chocolate sets were used for, there were 2 things. Chocolate was often served at breakfast, but it was also served at night before people went to bed. Don't knock anything over. If you knock things over, I'm not going to let you stay. All right, I'll cuddle you. Yes. All right. Chocolate was not as common as it is today. We owe that to Hershey, by the way. The Hershey company put chocolate on everybody's table. Before then, chocolate was quite a luxury item, and it was bitter in some cases, so it wasn't popular right across the board. But it was expensive, a luxury item, farm equipment. So people would make an event out of drinking the chocolate. So they would have it with breakfast, or you would drink your chocolate as a family before you turned in at night. It was like this whole thing they did with the special chocolate set, etc., etc. In a way, I think it's sad that we've lost some of those customs. When I was a child, my family didn't do this, but I know other families that did this. They would heat up a pot of milk, and everybody would drink their little glass of warm milk before they went to bed. And it's nice to have rituals like that. Oh, by the way, doctors will tell you the warm milk does help you sleep. So that was sort of an old wives' tale that turned out to be quite accurate. Has something to do with the enzymes in the milk. Anyway, where was chocolate? I'm sorry that we've lost all of these interesting old traditions. So, yes, much as I would love the idea of getting a chocolate set and just doing that at night, if I had my choice, of course, I'd go for the streamlined modern train first. All right, let's take a look at some other smalls. And that's what I refer to these as smalls, because in a place like Lutz, where they have large, I mean, sometimes giant case pieces of furniture, they've had pieces in there, and I'm sure you know, because I've videoed them, that have been 10 feet tall, 8 feet wide. So these are the tinies. Let's take a look at some dishware. And let's start with some spice jars and some crockery. All right, look at this fantastic little canister set. $68. We have little Dutch boys and girls and windmills. And we have shaker lids on top of them. Obviously designed for stovetop use. Let's see, spice, pepper, salt, sugar, tea, flour. Interesting little set, don't you think? And then we have dishware, crockery, these beautiful bowls way up here. Those are fantastic. And massive bowls. It's very hard to see how big they are because they're so high up, but those bowls are just huge. Now, I don't know how old those items are. They seemed, the spice jars in particular, seemed in very good condition, which leads me to believe they are probably not as old as they look. Now, when you're dealing with items like this, those little spice jars with the little metal lids, they have been reproduced during many periods in the past. So something like this that would have originally been made in the 20s or 30s may have been remade in the 50s and then remade again in the 70s or 80s, remade again in the early 2000s, because people like vintage, but they don't like rust. No matter what anybody tells you, if you have rusty stuff, people are not going to be anxious to move that into their kitchens for food service. So things like this were often reproduced many times. You see this with jadeite. At some point, we're going to have to go through that. I've made some jadeite videos in the past, but at some point, we are going to have to look at real, original jadeite. That stuff is getting to be 100 years old. And then the jadeite, which is retro jadeite. These are items that were made in the 80s, in the 90s, in the early 2000s, sometimes molded off original jadeite pieces. So in that case, it can be really, really difficult to tell an original jadeite piece from a more recent piece, a retro piece. But they're not worth anywhere near the same amount of money. A retro piece of jadeite, let's just say, for example, you have a retro measuring cup, because measuring cups are pretty common. Your retro measuring cup will probably be worth $10 or $15 at most. Your original jadeite measuring cup, depending on whether or not it's radioactive, I know, whoever thought that would be a selling point? Depending on whether or not that thing glows in the dark, it could sell for as much as $40. Big, big price difference. And if your retro cup was made from remolding one of those original cups. Unless you can really spot the difference. By the way, you can if you have sharp eyes and a good color sense, and you've dealt with a lot of jadeite glass, which in other words is a dealer or a glass expert can tell you. You can spot the differences. The glass doesn't look the same. But if you're not an expert, it's very easy to walk into a store, buy something you think is from the 1920s, and find out it's from the 1990s. So we're going to have to talk about that at some point. But back to the spice jars. I do think those are probably retro rather than really old. And I say that just because of the really good condition. By the way, I loved those old bowls. I am such a sucker for old bowls. All right, let's take a look at some other stuff. I just sort of went through and poked around in their planters and figurines and mid-century modern stuff. So let's take a look at that. This is something I don't do often enough when I'm in here. I don't take a look at the smaller items. This is a wonderful mid-century kitchen set, $68. And here's the other piece, a fork. Both pieces are porcelain. I expect there was probably a spoon along with it at one point or another, and it was a salad set. Really interesting. We have some planters down here. My goodness, I do not know what those are, but they appear to be like soda fountain pump dispensers. The pieces down at the bottom, Native American styles, some wonderful American country stoneware. Let's take a look over from this side. All kinds of little goodies. That's kind of got a Shawnee look to it. Let's see if we've got, yep, Shawnee. Oh, and the price, $23. Really interesting pieces, this one. Says USA.
Xfinity delivers faster Wi-Fi speed to handle a house full of devices. Can your internet do that? Learn more about
Let's go around and take a look at a few more of these. Well, as you can see, it was just a whole bunch of vintage ceramics. Really nice stuff. They have almost everything they have is in really good condition. In other words, this is not where you go where you have to examine every piece carefully because there are nicks and chips and cracks. No, usually when it's out on a shelf at Lutz, somebody's already done that for you. So in that sense, it makes shopping there much easier. And frankly, I like that because if you're going out to buy a decorative ceramic piece, in general, you want it to be in good shape. And if everybody in town is selling it, you're always going to go back to the store that has pieces in really good condition. All right, so that's what I have for you today. That was just sort of the stuff from Lutz that I always see, but that I hardly ever film and share with you. So I thought because it's such, like I say, it's a wonderful day after the nasty heat wave we had last week. It's just pleasant and warm and breezy, and my naughty little cat was sleeping on the trash bins, and the farmers are out, the birds are singing. It's just a great, great day. So, I thought we'd have a little fun with it. All right, we're going to take a look at a slideshow on the way out, and I will see you all tomorrow.